Greetings and salutations, old friends, and hopefully some new friends finding us tonight for the first time. And if you are, please let me know in the live chat. We will shout out all new live chat participants. Maybe we'll shout out everybody too, but I'd like to recognize and welcome new listeners, new viewers. Always happy to see a few new faces in the live chat. You are most welcome here. And just a note, I know there's a lot of chatter. Oh, the tears of many. I love it. There's a lot of chatter lately, and people are saying a lot of things that I never said. And, that's I guess, disappointing, right? But expected, right? Um, I guess I would address a few things in vague terms. Number one, somebody said that when people who go to or listen to other shows come here, that people in the live chat tell them, you're not welcome here if you like that other guy. And that is simply not the case. I went through chat logs looking for anybody saying anything like that to people, and I haven't been able to find anything. Not to say that it absolutely didn't happen, but if it did, that's not our policy here. Our policy here is everyone is welcome. I don't care what other shows you watch. If you're here to listen and see mine, I'm glad you're here, and you are most welcome. Everybody is welcome here, and we don't, a lot of people are trying to, spend a great deal of time trying to turn people against each other. And, I'm not doing that here. In fact, I have been uncharacteristically quiet about some of the chatter out there because honestly, I'm too busy. I am too busy to care, right? Especially if they don't have anything to back up, and they're just telling people, this guy did this, he said that, his chat did this. So now they're not just blaming me, they're blaming members of my live chat. And ask anybody who comes here. Everybody is welcome, first of all, in the live chat. We have very few rules, but one of them is, please be respectful to each other. And, this is where we're at. Everyone is welcome here. I'm glad for everybody who has found us. I don't care if you go to other shows, could care less. Also a stated thing is that I, was supporting these terrible women who then threatened and harassed somebody's mother. But I have since spoken to that show host, and I asked him, first of all, if you argue with me or you are very, very nasty to me, and then you make a hit piece video about me, and then you expect to come on my show to tell your side of the story. First of all, we played this funny clip of a woman talking about she's, getting attacked because she has breasts. And I thought it was funny. We played it. I didn't even know who she was talking about, but it turns out she was talking about, somebody. And anyway, that somebody then claimed that the police are involved, his mother, his family, everybody's getting attacked. And I talked to him last weekend, and I said, hey, if that happened, I'm sorry. I'd like to talk to your mother and get her side of the story. Wouldn't let me. And there's a reason for that. This guy has bluffed before. He bluffed so bad in his hit piece video about me, and I called him on it, that he had to take that hit piece video down. And now there could be no other reason why I can't see copies of the police reports and I can't speak to his mother. He won't back up his claims. There could be no other reason other than he bluffed. It's a bad bluff. But the problem is now people are repeating his lies and saying these evil women, they harassed some old lady and that just didn't happen. Until I'm proven wrong, I'm saying it didn't happen. This guy said he went to the police. He filled out police reports for harassment and all this stuff. Show us the police reports. I want to see them. Now, anybody that knows me might know that I may have done something like, I don't know, call his local police district and ask to see the police reports and found out that they don't exist and it's a bluff, maybe, just maybe. But I'm trying not to get upset. In fact, I didn't even comment. The guy made a big hit piece, another one, this one he kept up, with his bluff, telling people that he filled out police reports and called the police. Nobody's seen the police reports. So maybe they're just in his imagination. And I talked to that guy. He sent me, I can't tell you how many messages back and forth. And I told him, you don't want to make an enemy of me. I'm not your enemy. It would be much better to be friendly with me. I help my friends. Enemies are people who consider themselves enemies of me, even though I don't consider them enemies, but whatever. Those people I cut out of my life like a cancer. I really do. And and one final thing on all of the chatter out there, or drama, I just want to say, you're so vain. You're so vain. You probably think this tweet is about you. Don't you? Don't you? Yeah. It's wrong to assume, unless I name you in a tweet, and I will if I have something to say to you, generally, name you in a tweet. It's wrong to assume that tweet is about you and then have a meltdown and, do another round of let's trash Steve Cambion. Why? Because he's doing great. Let's trash him just because he's doing great. And he tweeted this thing, and it's got to be about me. It's got to be about us. No, it doesn't. I was speaking in very vague terms, almost jokingly, about the fact that some of the people that are very critical of me are very lazy. They have, everybody's got dirt. If you dig enough, you're going to find some dirt you can use on people. I know that more than most people. But these guys aren't doing that. They're just putting words in my mouth I never said. They're putting they're saying the chat room did things they never did. And it's a bitter, angry, jealous road that some people are on. And, I just want to say that I learned a long time ago that it's really important to celebrate people's success. You got two choices, right? And we all get jealous, including me. But, if somebody starts doing well with whatever their creative endeavor is or what their passion is, maybe starting a business, starting a podcast, whatever, and they start doing really well, I want to be there to celebrate your success. Because if you can do that, so can I. Or I could be a bitter, angry little man, right? And start finding reasons to turn people against that person because I'm not happy that they're doing great. And that's just not a good road to go down. And I wish those people find peace. And I wish anybody angry at me. And, listen, I'm going to say this too, and I'm only going to say it once. If I've done anything to hurt you, offend you, piss you off, I apologize. If you want to reach out to me off air and talk to me about something I did, that's fine. But the point is, I'm sorry. I hope you forgive me, and I forgive anyone else. And that's just how I'm going to try to live my life. I was raised Catholic, of course, and there is the famous Lord's Prayer, right? Our Father who art in heaven. And in that prayer, I was thinking about this lately because of that situation, of people, let's just say, trespassing against me, especially when people are just lying and putting words in my mouth I never said. But a line from that prayer spoke to me. It's in that prayer, you're begging God to forgive us our trespasses. And then the very next line is, as we forgive those who trespass against us. thinking about that made me realize that I can't be angry at anybody. I can't be angry at these people. I don't know what their issues are. What uh, I have some, ideas and opinions on that, but it doesn't really matter why people are slagging me. My task is to beg God to forgive me my sins, and also to forgive those who sin against me. And that's what I'm going to try. And like I said, I'm far too busy for all this drama, and I really just want to focus on the show and doing good shows. And we've got a heavy schedule next week as well. We've got a heavy schedule. We had a heavy schedule for the last 2 weeks. We're doing tomorrow night, we're doing Mischief Night Mayhem panel show, and everybody's welcome to come right here with me. Be on the set, be on the show, be in the stream. Don't just watch the story. Don't just listen to the story. Come here. You're most welcome to come here and be a part of tomorrow night's story. I have no idea what we're talking about yet, but we'll get there. Yeah, so I'm sorry to even take this long, and I'm gonna hope that I was vague enough and nobody starts crying and moaning and melting down and doing another 2 hours. I'm gonna hope, and I'm gonna pray for those people that are angry with me, that they deal with their anger with me in healthier ways than the way apparently some people have been. Yeah, and I want to thank Madam Two Swords with a kind and generous 249-pound super sticker. Thank you, Madam Two Swords. And I also want to thank Welcome to the Show, who even before the show started with a kind and generous 99-cent super sticker. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support, and for helping us to praise the cash. Just a note, we read every single super chat, and thank everybody that's kind and generous enough to get kind and generous enough to support us. And I think this is my neighbor from the cabin, MDog1985, who says, "Get your S together, Stephen." Hey, if that's who I think it is, I miss you. Yeah. So just another final personal note. I was supposed to go to the cabin this weekend, but most of what I have to be doing at the cabin right now is making firewood, processing firewood. We need firewood there, and it's raining there. Heavy rain and thunderstorms all weekend long, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I'm staying home today, and I'm trying to get ahead of some things on my to-do list for the show. And I saw a thumbs up there, so I believe that is my friend Matt, big, great friend to have at the cabin. You've heard me talk about this guy. He's got a bobcat and all these machines and every tool imaginable. And when I start building this cabin, it was funny. Like I was trying to do things with hammer and nails, and this guy comes over. He's like, "Let me give you a hand. I'll be right back. Hold my beer." And he comes back with like air compressors and nail guns, and he's awesome. And it's not good that I don't get to go to the cabin this weekend. Lead guy again with a kind and generous $1.99. You're my favorite douche, Steve. That made my night. That is the comment of the night. Thank you. Thank you very much for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. So listen, we got to get into this because I got a lot. I got to listen. There's like a 2-hour video, and I don't know if I should cover the whole video because the most important part. So of course we're talking about David Wilcock and his hover car scam, but I think that David Wilcock may have finally gone way too far, and this is 100% consumer fraud now, because he's talked about this insider of his who claims, that they're going to build a hover car in a year. And now he's saying that that partner of his built spaceships for the secret space program. Now, why is this problematic? It's problematic because he's asking people for money for a course, telling them that this is my insider who's going to tell you all this insider information. And then on another show, he's telling people that his insider built spaceships for the secret space program. So it's reasonable to assume that somebody may hear that this guy built spaceships for the secret space program, and they purchased David Wilcock's course based on him building spaceships. And I just want to say, David Wilcock, where's the spaceships, bro? Where are the spaceships? I need to remind everyone within the sound of my voice that David Wilcock somehow got involved with this company, right? And this company has been an aircraft company for 25 years. And so far, they have not, my friends, in 25 years, produced a single aircraft. Nothing real. They've got 3D printed plastic models that look like G.I. Joe toys, but they don't have anything real. So an aircraft company that never, ever finished one airplane, the same guy, David Wilcock, is saying that guy built spaceships. And I just want to say, David Wilcock, where's the spaceships? You're taking money from people claiming that you have an aerospace insider. Now you've claimed that he's built spaceships. And people should pay you for your course because you've got this aerospace insider who has built spaceships. Where's the spaceships, David Wilcock? This is a big problem. And I got to tell you, I'm sure that this is absolutely consumer fraud at this point. You're telling people you have an insider. You go on another show and you say he built spaceships for the secret space program. I don't know how that is not consumer fraud. You're taking money from people saying my insider has all this secret knowledge that he's going to share with you if you pay me $333. Meanwhile, what people don't know is that guy had an aircraft company for 25 years. He hasn't made a single airplane, but now David Wilcock is tacking on, oh, by the way, he made spaceships for the secret space program. Sure he did. Sure he did. And I would just like to challenge David Wilcock. Either show us the spaceships or give all this money back that you're taking under false pretenses. With false promises you can't prove. Why don't you prove that he made a spaceship? Prove he made an airplane. You can't. Because this company, so-called company, is largely mocked by everybody. People think it was a joke. People think that company, real people in the aerospace industry think that company is a joke because they come out with all these designs. They never build anything. It's a big, huge hype machine. And, I forgot. Besides all of these amazing promises that David Wilcock has made about this company and him are going to build hover cars, well, there's a big problem with that because people have been calling that company that David Wilcock is now involved with a scam and a hoax for a long time. They hoaxed a laser rifle design. That's right. Just like Billy Meyer, right, and Mikey Horn, they're gonna show you the laser gun they're gonna build, except they never built it. And let's see. Here we have defensetech.org. Pardon me, folks. They called this laser rifle design a hoax. It's the kind of proposal, by the way, we're citing fair use, it's the kind of proposal that makes sci-fi dorks, including this one, quiver with anticipation. A 1999 design found by Defense Review for a real-life laser rifle. So when I read about the out-sounding gas dynamic laser weapon on Slashdot, I fell for it. Without reading too carefully, I bought the gobbledygook about here's David Wilcock's partner in his new hovercar company, Straviti Corporation, using streams of carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and helium gases to help generate pulses of laser light. And I swallowed it. When I called the company, I was told the president was out of town looking for government funding. Now remember, folks, this garbage story about David Wilcock's new partner that faked a laser gun for publicity and never built it. This is from 1999. This guy's been at it almost as long as David Wilcock, making up fake stories and trying to profit from them. Let's see. Straviti Percussion conducts the retail sale of percussion products. Straviti's founder and current CEO, Christopher R. Bhaskar, plays the bagpipes. Early in his piping career, Bhaskar joined a bagpipe band. I don't know what that has to do with anything. Let's get back to the laser gun. Straviti doesn't just design any weapons. Straviti builds space fighters, the company website says. We know what threats are out there. A 9mm just won't cut it when you are facing a 30-foot tall insectoids or the reptile alien overlords from Rigel. Great. To battle those baddies, of course, you're going to need a laser rifle. Straviti CEO Chris Bhaskar insists his company is legit, but he can't produce a single customer for his high-tech arms business. In a phone interview from a Virginia hotel room, Bhaskar claims that he has 60 people in the company, but when pressed, he admits that all but 3 are essentially assisting on a pro bono basis. This, friends, is the quality of David Wilcock's insider, a guy who's running around telling stories about 30-foot tall insectoid aliens and how you need a laser rifle to deal with threats like that, right? This is David Wilcock's insider, a guy who has been pretending that he has a company. Near as I can tell, they never produced anything, not a single product in 25 years. They haven't had a single customer, not a single customer in 25 years. But somehow, that guy and David Wilcock, the ancient aliens guy, right, who was Edgar Casey reincarnated for a while, but that didn't really work out for him. Let's see. He channeled the Egyptian god Ra. This is David Wilcock's own claims, not mine. He is a super gifted psychic who used to give people psychic readings, right? He's a prophet, the most important prophet. You know, Jesus was a prophet, David Wilcock. You're no prophet. We've talked about it before. David Wilcock claims to be some kind of prophet, but there is ample biblical evidence to suggest he is not, because there's something called the test of a prophet. It's in the Bible. If one prophecy fails, if one prediction fails, you're not a prophet, because a prophet is from God, and God would not give a prophet a lie. How many false predictions has David Wilcock made? How many times has David Wilcock got caught with prophecies and predictions that never panned out? All the time. So again, the test of a prophet is one bad prediction, you're not a prophet. So, you know, when I hear David Wilcock talking about he's the most important prophet, right? Since who? Since, you know, Jesus? Since the Buddha? Since Muhammad? You know, since Elijah? I don't know. Moses? David Wilcock is the most important prophet. Okay, but he failed the test of a prophet 1,000 times. He's got an entire website full of fake prophecies that all failed that he tried to scrub from the internet. But you can find it on Wayback Machine, and it's a laugh riot of fun reading his bunch of garbage. None of it happened. He predicted we'd get superpowers and light bodies in 2012. None of that happened. He predicted Donald Trump would win the election in a landslide. None of that happened. He predicted that Joe Biden would never step foot in the White House, even after he was elected. Well, gee, that was wrong. He's wrong time and time again. And his newest prediction is that he and another guy that's been, you know, I don't know, making cool drawings of airplanes for 25 years, but never building a single one of them, that guy is going to build a hover car with David Wilcock. I mean, what are the chances, friends? And I would just like to say that if a man had an aircraft company for 25 years and he puts out all this press and stuff that he's going to build a laser rifle, I want to see the laser rifle, David Wilcock. And I want to see the spaceship that this guy's supposed to be building. He claimed he was building a spaceship, space fighters, a laser rifle. Does anybody else realize how stupid this guy sounds, right? And what are the odds that some guy that's been telling stories about building laser rifles and spaceships and 30-foot tall insectoid aliens, you need that laser rifle, and he's got a company for 25 years that hasn't produced a single product, hasn't had a single customer, or produced a single airplane. You know, this is like me starting a chocolate bar factory, but for 25 years, I couldn't sell a single chocolate bar? Really? This is ridiculous and ludicrous, and why am I even here? I don't know. I'm here because people expect me to figure out this crazy David Wilcock stuff so they don't have to. But I got to tell you, it is a form of entertainment for me. It's like, what stupid thing is David Wilcock going to say next? What more proof that his new partner is kind of scammy too am I going to find today, right? And I would like to reach out to anybody who has purchased this. Come here. I want to hear about it. I can't give David Wilcock 300. Well, I could. I'm not going to give him. I thought about giving David Wilcock the $333 just to hear the secrets of anti-gravity that he's going to give people. Is he just going to be reading off other people's patents that's never been proven to be real technology? Is he telling people behind a paywall that his partner in this hovercar business built spaceships? Because if he's taking $333 from people and he says that his partner built spaceships, well, he's got to prove that his partner actually built the spaceships, or that's consumer fraud. It's very simple. No, friends, this time, I've said it before, but I'm telling you, this time David Wilcock has gone way too far. We've got him dead to rights saying that he's been putting money from his courses into this aircraft, hovercar thing for a long time. But previously, he said that money was going to his nonprofit charity. So did he take money from a nonprofit charity and put it into a for-profit business? Because that's illegal. Telling people that your partner built spaceships and has insider knowledge and you can buy my course and he'll share that insider knowledge, and then it turns out the guy never built anything, let alone a real spaceship, that's illegal. That's consumer fraud. David Wilcock has gone too far with this one. And I have a feeling that this is not going to turn out well for David Wilcock on many fronts. First of all, if he was dumb enough to invest in this scammy partner of his, right? If he was dumb enough to give that guy a whole bunch of money, by the way, David Wilcock, ask him to see a list of all the other people that have given him money and what happened to the money. How can a guy run an aircraft company for 25 years, never turn a profit? Do you think he might have been taking money from gullible people like you for a long time now and never doing anything with the money? Or he hasn't turned a profit in 25 years, David Wilcock. But there we go. All right, and I'm going to share one more thing. Yeah, we could get into the whole video. We'll play some of it, but I'm not doing 2 hours of David Wilcock lying. And I'm going to share this because somebody, it's at Spudwife2 on Twitter. Spudwife, who you've heard me mention here many times, is on Twitter. You should follow her. She finds a lot of this stuff. Oh, wait a minute. Let me take that back down. Gotta make sure. So this is just an audio clip. I just want to provide the proof of what I'm talking about. This is an audio clip of David Wilcock, who is telling people that his insider, the guy that has the insider knowledge that he's going to share, if you give me the $333, here's David Wilcock saying, first of all, that the guy built spaceships, and then he starts talking about aliens are eating people at the border from meat wagons. What are you going to do, friends? And I'm citing fair use.
It's a lot worse than you think. What's going on with the border?
1 second. Here we go.
Another insider that we're calling Ben, and he said to me that Ben built, I don't know if I can say this, but I mean, he's already said this before, that Ben built spaceships that we're using in this off-planet situation, which is, you know, when you really find out what's going on and what's happening on Earth, it's very depressing, and it totally fits with biblical prophecy, because it appears that both gray aliens and reptilians are feeding on human bodies. That's one of the things that you learn. We need to get rid of these human traffickers. We need to get these aliens out of here, because they are demons, and it's worse than you think. It's a lot worse than you think. What's going on with the border? Most of those people are not going to become American citizens. That's what they call a meat wagon. And I heard about meat wagons all the way back in 2010. But they
meat wagons. Oh no. The reptilian aliens and the gray aliens are eating people at the border. Breaking news, friends. David Wilcock of Ancient Aliens fame is right now telling people that reptilian aliens and gray aliens are eating people from meat wagons at the border. They're never going to become citizens. They're just going to be eaten by reptilian aliens and gray aliens. David Wilcock, you have reached new levels of ridiculousness with this. You know, look, you could have, after Ancient Aliens, you could have salvaged some kind of a career. But at this point, with this nonsense coming out of your mouth, I don't know what's going to happen next for you. But like I said, this latest round of stuff, I don't see this ending well for David Wilcock. First of all, he's got legal problems, or he should, because of what I mentioned previously. This is problematic from a criminal perspective. You know, like, is it criminal? I'm not a lawyer, but you can't tell people that this is a true story. My insider built spaceships, and he's going to share his secret knowledge with you if you give me $333 if the guy never built a spaceship. It's obvious he never built a laser rifle that he talked about in 1999. And in 1999, he was saying he was building spaceships. Friends, if this guy was building spaceships, he'd be able to show us a spaceship. I'm not asking much. If you said you built spaceships, show me the spaceship. Great. So, what can I say? The other problem that I find, that I think, you know, this is going to be trouble for David Wilcock, is because the former CEO of Amiga Incorporated, which was very shady. I'm not even. Bill McEwen ran the corpse of Amiga into the ground, promising all kinds of products, and he didn't produce anything. So David Wilcock's company has got a guy who said he was building a laser rifle that never did, a guy who said he was building all these different aircraft designs and never did. Then we've got Bill McEwen as the chief operating officer of the same company. With this is David Wilcock's new company, right? That he's the director of advanced technology, right? So the chief operating officer, Bill McEwen, he promised all kinds of products for the Amiga computer and never delivered on any of them. Well, most of them. He delivered a few things that nobody wanted, but he promised the new Amiga computer, didn't deliver. He promised the new Amiga operating system, and then that guy ended up getting sued by the people who actually wrote the operating system because he never paid them, and they had to settle, and the people who wrote the operating system got it. But Bill McEwen didn't get anything. In fact, Bill McEwen sold off what was left of the Amiga assets. This is a guy who wanted to sue people for using a Boeing ball or a check mark, a colored check mark, because all he had left was trademarks and copyrights. Bill McEwen sold 30 and 40, 30-year-old ROMs of the Amiga computer. People had to pay this Amiga grave robber so that they could play old Amiga games. Great. These are the people that David Wilcock is investing money with. How is this going to work out good for David Wilcock? Do I see a hover car, an operational hover car in David Wilcock's new company's future? No. I see financial ruin and possible jail time for David Wilcock. That's what I see. But I'm no prophet like David Wilcock. So I don't want to do too much of this. I don't want to do too much of this update, this latest video. And now I lost it. So please bear with me as I try to find this video again. Oh, I got to go to a different email address. That's what it is. Yeah, and we could read, you know what we're going to do as well? We're going to read some of his marketing emails. And you'll realize why I think that David Wilcock has gone way, way too far here. Even the marketing emails themselves, right? Here we go. He's talking about forbidden information in this one. So I'm going to share my screen. These are the marketing emails that David Wilcock is sending out to people that sign up for the free, so-called free content. He doesn't give you any free content. He sends you links that are already free content on YouTube. But, you know, there we are. There is so much to talk about that they are saying in the media these days. Mostly they are the zeitgeist, the media, spouting the stuff your neighbors and attic squirrels believe. Why not take a gander at what our community is saying about the information they don't want you to know in disclosure? Look at this. We love it. So now he's got testimonials. And guess what? I guarantee nobody's allowed to speak to those people. We loved the first episode. Great work by you, Elizabeth and Chris. I have to say, I really enjoyed the first episode so much that I couldn't keep myself from jumping on my seat. I think what you guys are doing is amazing. Who talks like that? Yeah, despite the squirrely headlines, what I also know is you, like me, you're a seeker. You often prefer to get your questions answered first and gather information in your own way. Oh, let's skip ahead. Wouldn't it be intriguing to see a speech from a man who got blocked by the Department of Defense? Oh, look at this claim. Wouldn't it be intriguing to see a speech from a man who got blocked by the Department of Defense for discovering anti-gravity in certain exotic materials he learned how to fabricate? These are the claims that he's making, soliciting people for money to join this course. This Thursday's get-together is a time for you, me, Elizabeth, etheric light beings, they're included in his course, some donkeys, and perhaps a boar to hang out and talk shop. What is that about? And if we go to register, we talked about this before. He's still got a timer. He's still got a timer on the course. Remember, it's a limited time offer. And he just keeps moving it and moving it and moving it. It's great. 1 second. I got one more email to share. One more, friends. So, yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to share that. not going to bother. All right, friends, we do have a video that he made with Brady on. Great. And I'm going to put my fair use banner up here. Let's get that fair use banner up because we're going to be sharing a video, but this is fair use because this is a transformative work. We are educating the public and critiquing the video that we are sharing. And this is covered, of course, under fair use because we're educating the public and we'll be discussing it and offering commentary. And this is certainly covered under fair use and allowable by law. So let's share this. Please, somebody in the live chat, let me know if there's no audio or this doesn't play right because we tried to rip this video, but it wouldn't let us. So we have to share it from a website, which is sometimes problematic, but I think it's going to work.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Health Ranger Report Show here on Brighteon.tv. I'm Mike Adams, the founder of Brighteon. Today, we've got a great guest, someone who I've listened to and learned from for many, many years. His name is David Wilcock. You've probably heard that name before if you're interested in anything about the universe or if you're just curious at all about reality. And he's got a new online course coming up called The Disclosure. And there's some major bombshells for humanity that he's going to be revealing with his sources over a 6-week period with that course that's coming up just, I guess, in a day or two. We'll give you more details here. So he'll be joining me here in just right after this break to talk about what's in that course. Why is humanity being force-fed this horrible diet of scarcity and fear when we have so much abundance and even technology that's headed our way that can set humanity free? So stay with us. We'll be right back after this break with David Wilcock with The Disclosure. I'm Mike Adams here. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, folks. I'm just going to bring in David Wilcock right here. David, it's an honor to have you on. I've enjoyed so much of your material over the years. You've done so much. You're a prolific creator and thinker. So thank you for joining me today. It's an honor.
Well, thank you. I kind of look at both of us as professional dumpster divers. You know, we have to sort through this horrible stuff and try to extract the food. So Mike, here's my challenge. March 1st, 2022, Madison Square Garden, the Mike Adams, David Wilcock Dumpster Liberation Championship Dive-Off. You and I are going to compete in Madison Square Garden on who can liberate the most amount of food from an absolutely disgusting dumpster faster. What do you say?
I don't know about that one, David. I'm not against the dumpster diving, as a form of recycling, but I'm not sure about going to New York.
David Wilcock thinks he's funny with this. This is a rich guy who's never been hungry in his life, right? And I found that let's dumpster dive. Like, are you making fun of homeless people who have to do that? Do you have no empathy for them, Mr. Spiritual Guru?
New York City, that's
no dumpster championship.
Yeah,
maybe somebody else will want to do it. It'll be fun.
But you bring up a very important point that right now we have global supply lines that are cratering, and people are going to have to become more resilient to be prepared.
That's why I'm thinking we got to make some new sports. Let's kind of upgrade what's hot in the world.
That's true, and it's completely gender neutral. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman.
Absolutely.
You're dumpster dive.
He's sitting around in his mansion laughing about people that have to dumpster dive. He's a spiritual guru. What would Gandhi laugh about people who were starving and had to eat trash? Would the Buddha? Would Jesus? Would any spiritual person do that?
Diving skills can be either way. Doesn't matter. But getting on to more, I never thought we'd start out our first interview like that, but it's okay. Whatever.
You got to start somewhere. I actually think that if we could really make the dumpsters very, very unpleasant. There's hazards in there, and you'll get penalized if you try to bring out the food that's too contaminated. We'll have a whole set of rules.
So cringe, David Wilcock. You are cringe,
oh my
bro.
Goodness. Yeah. Well, those might be the new supply chains for.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If I listen to Situation Update every day, that's what it sounds like.
Well, I'm sorry to put you through that if you've heard my podcast, but I do always try to give people good news at the end, and that's actually what you're on here to talk about today. Humanity's got some big surprises ahead.
David Wilcock has this continual riff that these great things are coming. These great things are coming. Kind of like 2012 when he promised everybody we were all going to ascend. We were going to get light bodies and superpowers. These great things are coming. Just keep giving me money and I'll tell you all about them. And then they never happen. And then he has to invent new great things that are going to happen. Kind of like when he was promising people all kinds of hopium for that letter of the alphabet scam that turns out to be completely and totally fake, made up garbage. Right? None of that happened. So now he's going to tell you all that free energy devices and hover cars are just around the corner, folks. Just buy my new course for $333. You want to.
That are major good news. Can you share a little bit with us about that and what you're working on?
Well, sure. As you may know, as I'm sure you know, Mike, but your audience may or may not know, I've always been a ufologist as my main passion. It led to a lot of television exposure through Ancient Aliens, of which I'm in like over 100 episodes. So I'm sure you get this too. You know, you go to the store or something, you just want to buy something, and you start having these really cool conversations with people, you know? And I love that. I mean, I enjoy that aspect of it. UFOs have traditionally been probably the most fringe of the fringe scene. You know, you could kind of argue conspiracy theory and UFOs are in the same boat, but even then,
I just want to point out and mention that David Wilcock constantly says that he goes to the supermarket and all these people recognize him. I don't think so. That's just my opinion. I'm sorry, but being on the History Channel doesn't make you a celebrity that everybody would recognize anytime you're out in public, David Wilcock, because it's such a niche of people that are interested in that subject, you know? How many people are in the supermarket? 50? How many of them watched Ancient Aliens, right? I don't know.
There's people who can totally believe in the cabal, but don't believe that there are actual extraterrestrial humans or any other type of extraterrestrials visiting us. Now, in my case, I had dreams about UFOs ever since I was 2 years old that were incredibly dramatic, where I would have them landing in my yard, and then I would be speaking to an older man who had like white hair and a white beard and a robe that was white. And he was very friendly. And when I saw Star Wars, when it came out,
he's going to talk about how he saw Obi-Wan Kenobi in his dreams, and it was an alien and one of his spirit guides.
I guess was 77. He became Obi-Wan Kenobi after I saw the movie. Prior to that time, it didn't look like Obi-Wan Kenobi. But and then another strange thing was that my parents actually called my brother Obi-Wan before Star Wars came out, believe it or not. They started calling him Obi-Maya, so they called him Obi-Wan before Obi-Wan Kenobi. So even all the way back then, that was a very strange thing. My whole family was very shocked when we saw Star Wars and realized that such a specific name as Obi-Wan that we'd already been calling my brother. That's just strange. And
I like how the guy just nods. He's like, what do I say to this garbage? Nonsense, BS. Yeah, David Wilcock has a fixation with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he also has a fixation. Remember, when he was on the Jenny McCarthy show, he told everybody that Star Wars is basically a documentary. It's real.
So that's when I guess Michael first showed up. I would probably think that the old man is what we're now seeing as Archangel Michael. But
wow, that's a leap. So first it was an alien with a white robe and white beard and white face. Then it turned into Obi-Wan Kenobi. But really, it was the Archangel Michael the whole time. That's a new twist to this garbage story he's been telling for years.
I had very vivid dreams all my life, and then when I was when I got out of college, I started writing them down. So I wrote my dreams down every morning for 4 years, which in and of itself is quite a feat. You know, most people don't do that. Okay. Most people don't remember their dreams. What I discovered after reading a few books on it and really getting into the practice was that information is conveyed in a dream that is beyond space and time. I started to have, over those 4 years, many dozens of undeniable prophetic dreams.
He constantly says that his dreams are prophetic, but all of his prophecies fail. So, I just don't understand how he can stand there with a straight face, and he's always like got to convince people, well, it's undeniable. It's undeniable that my dreams are prophetic. If it was undeniable that his dreams were prophetic, he would have some proven real prophecies that came true that he could show us, and he never does. They're all fake, just like his teeth. He lies to his fake teeth and says he has prophetic dreams. He collects money from people based on his own beliefs and assertions that his dreams are undeniably prophetic. But the public track record, you could read all these predictions that he's made since 1999. He's batting zero. Nothing he talks about ever happens.
Where, like, for example, I had a dream where the axle went out on my car, and that same day the axle actually did go out on my car. That's just one example. I mean, there's hundreds of them, really. So
yes,
I kind of got, to use the old Richard C. Hoagland saying, I got dragged kicking and screaming into this in some ways. After 4 years of doing all these dreams and also binge researching UFOs at the same time, when I started to write my dreams down and research UFOs was the same period in my life, starting in 1992, 93. After I went through all that, it started to become aware in these dreams that there was a focal point of intelligence that wanted to communicate with me about UFOs. And so, for example, I had a dream where a UFO flew overhead, and I was very amazed. Something shoots out of the bottom and it's spinning like this. And then when it hits the ground, it was a telephone, and the telephone starts ringing, and I'm supposed to pick it up. In another dream, so obviously a telephone from the UFO implies that whoever was in the UFO wanted to talk to me. Another case was I had a weird extraterrestrial looking being walk up to me, and then all these books started to fly out from behind him in like a tunnel around me. Each of the books was something that I had read in the last 4 or 5 years about UFOs. And I had like the full knowledge of all the content of each book as they flew by. And it was this massive surge of incredible data and information. That was showing me an overview of all the stuff that I'd been reading, which I hadn't really seen before.
Now, can I interrupt and
Sure,
ask
absolutely.
you something? This is fascinating. These particular dreams that you're referring to, did these dreams have a quality of hyper realism, or
Absolutely.
what I would call enhanced resolution beyond what the physical eye could possibly perceive?
Absolutely. And I mean, I've also practiced lucid dreaming. And when you read the book Lucid Dreaming by Dr. Stephen LeBerge, he says in there that when people achieve lucidity.
Yes, I really need a physical cough button. Thank you, Lord Ludicrous Plaid. I have fixed it. I was just saying that, maybe it's just that he was reading all these books about UFOs and aliens, and so he dreamt about a whole bunch of books about UFOs and aliens. It doesn't mean it's a prophetic dream just for him, or that aliens are communicating with him through his dreams.
They often report, I have never truly been awake before.
Yes.
Because
yes,
the wakefulness you get
I've read
is much...
that book several times.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And I've had that experience. In one particular dream I had where I was self-aware, I just looked at a leaf and marveled at the complexity and the detail of the leaf that was bigger than the universe of this world. It was so bizarre.
It's hard to explain it to someone if you haven't actually been through it. I would just say that it would appear that your consciousness is much faster. The speed of thinking is much faster. And the amount of information that you can wrangle and manage and look at all at once is much greater.
Can I ask you, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to get on a tangent, but
no problem.
This is relevant. One of the methods that LeBerge talks about to maintain that self-aware state is to practice spinning in your dream. So you actually try to spin like a child. Is that something that you have applied in those dreams, and has it been successful for you?
It actually did work. I read LeBerge starting when I was a junior in high school, so maybe 15, 16. And yes, the spinning technique works very well. There's another guy named William Ballman who has his book Adventures Out of the Body. His technique is to put out your hands like this and yell, "Clarity now!" And that works.
I'd like some clarity about David Wilcock's finances. Like, oh, I got to clip that. Like, when people give you money, is it still going to your charity? Clarity now, David Wilcock. Or is it going in your pocket? And what are you doing with all the charitable money? Because you won't release any of those records to prove how much money people are giving to your charity and what you spent all the money on. Now we have the first year one, and he spent something like, I don't know, I think it's $70,000 on himself, equipment, meals and expenses, entertainment, software, but he didn't do any charitable work. So I'd like some clarity on that.
I've done that. And then the classic Carlos Castaneda shamanic advice from his alleged Yaqui shaman Don Juan was to look at your hands. Look at your hands is a little tougher because typically when you do, they're all messed up and you're missing fingers and it's really kind of traumatic.
Right.
So
Right.
I'll usually do the spinning or the clarity now. Yeah.
Okay. One more question for you. And this is really fascinating. Did you do any kind of awareness training in your awakening life? To question, for example, every time you see red, I think that's one thing that Stephen mentioned, or to anytime you see a sign that's got text in it, to read the text, look away, and then go back and read it again. Did you do any kind of this training of awareness in your waking life in order to obtain the self-awareness in the dream?
Absolutely. One of the things that I used to do, which I found out later that the Scientologists make you do this too. I'm not saying that that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I would touch walls. And I would say, if this wall is solid, then this is not a dream. If this wall is not solid, then it is a dream. And the real, and I
remember, David Wilcock just wrote a whole book about dreams. And, I got to say, it's so narcissistic of him to think that his dreams, that he's so important, that his dreams must all mean something and be so important. Or, David Wilcock, could it just be that dreams are the mind's way of resting the mind, right? Or the mind still able to form thought, images, sounds while still sleeping? Your dreams don't have to mean anything, David.
I would also look at something and look away and look back to make sure it's the same. And yes, if you start reading these lucid dreaming books and you practice that, and I was doing this again when I was 16, you start checking your reality, and you want to build a habit where you just start doing this regularly as a normal practice. And if you do that, then sure enough, when you're in a dream, you might think to check your reality. And if you do, then you're going to find out, whoa, I'm dreaming. And then when you know you're dreaming, you use those techniques that you just described to stay in there. And Mike, I had such amazing lucid dreams for so many years. And just you can do anything, you can create anything, manifest a sports car and take a spin, the car that you never thought you'd be able to have, whatever you want to do, you can do it. It's incredible.
And this is what's extraordinary for those listening who maybe haven't experienced this. When you train yourself to question your reality in your dream, and you are able to achieve awareness that this is a dream state, it does something to your mental state in your awakening state. Also, you begin to question that reality, which is the right thing to do, especially today with all the artificial news, the artificial world, right? The control grid.
Yeah, this guy from Brighteon is giving people the real truth, not, well, on that I might agree with him. I was going to say not corporate media. But this guy's got some pretty out there beliefs. Let's just leave it at that.
You can question that, and you should question that.
Well, you raise a very good point. All this dream work led up to me finding a book called The Law of One series, which I began reading in January 96. And it was supposedly revealed teachings, meaning there was a group of 3 people who telepathically received this through Carla Ruckert, who was unconscious and didn't retain any of the data. And so when I started to read The Law of One, you get this perspective that alleges to be from entities that we could think of as not even maybe archangels, but even higher, like seraphim or cherubim in the Bible.
Notice that previously, it was the Egyptian god Ra that the Law of One came from. But lately, he's really pushing to retcon things and include the Archangel Michael. And this is very problematic for me and many people, because why is he distancing himself from non-Christian gods and mythology? So now it wasn't the Egyptian god Ra, now it's angels and archangels and the Archangel Michael. I think a lot of people who have speculated that he's going to end up trying to become a Christian preacher when this all flops on him might be spot on.
And, so cherub is another word that's similar to cherubim, cherub. That's where that comes from. So a cherub is a lot more interesting than a little fat angel with heart-shaped lips or something. It's a much more interesting situation. So the Law of One series claims to be from a source that's like a whole planet worth of people like us who have ascended into fourth density, then into fifth density, then into sixth density. So apparently they're...
You know, when everybody starts talking about fourth density, fifth density, I'd like them to explain what that means. And I got to tell you, friends, of all the New Age people who have said fourth density, fifth density, sixth density to me, each and every time I say, well, explain what is fourth density? What is fifth density? You'll get a different answer from every single one of these spiritual guru clowns. There's no,
three-dimensional levels ahead of us in evolution in the universe. Incidentally, they also say this is the highest level that ever interacts with terrestrial humans at all. And when you get to seventh density, all they really do is advise sixth density and then work on going back to the oneness, which is they call the octave or eighth density. So when I started to read this stuff, it talks about the world being an illusion. And clearly a major part of the collapsing of the illusion is the exposure of entrenched negativity and evil on this planet. And so you're absolutely right. I think that you made a very good point, because when you start to remember your dreams and write them down, and especially if you start trying to practice lucid dreaming, you become accustomed to the idea that when you're in a lucid dream, you're not going to know that it's a dream. It's going to seem just as real as your waking life. And so then the question becomes, how do you know that this life isn't also some kind of a dream? Since you have to do this, you have to do it yourself. But if you practice and have a lucid dream, you can no longer deny that while your body was sleeping in that bed, that you could experience a three-dimensional reality that you could touch and taste and see and smell. It's just seemingly as real as this one, except, as you said, Mike, it's a thought projection. So if you look at something and you look away and you look back, typically it will have already changed by then.
You've hit upon something that's very powerful and I think critical to this.
This isn't powerful. This is New Age garbage, but whatever.
That you're referring to, or ascension, as you talk about in your work.
Right.
And that is the typical person has a fleeting little window of awareness that's just a few seconds in the past and a few seconds of now. I mean, that's about it, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just gone, gone, gone. And in that little tiny window of awareness, the reality that they're presented with, whether it's in our waking world or in their dream, they accept that reality as if it were fact.
Exactly.
And they don't question it. And so you can be in a dream, you can be in a different place, you can be a different age, you can be married to a different person than your current spouse, whatever, but you accept that as real for some reason. Now,
it's also interesting that dreams can get you to believe very, very flimsy ideas that really don't hold up under intellectual scrutiny.
Yeah, I just want to mention it. We're 15 minutes in, and what have we learned? Nothing. Regurgitated garbage about lucid dreams. This is 15 minutes of my life I'm never getting back.
That's right.
Yeah.
But think about COVID, right? And what's happening in our world right now. Honestly, David, to me, this feels a lot like a dream that has to be questioned because it's so irrational. It's so crazy. It feels like that moment when you're in a dream and about to go into awareness where you're like, wait a second. You know that moment I'm talking about?
And I just want to mention, you can guess from this last statement where this guy is on the current health crisis and on the Fauci ouchie or whatever you want to call it, and the dangerous things that he is likely telling his huge platform.
The whole world has gotten extremely bizarre, and I have never been that surprised because when I started to read the Law of One in January, something happens called attunement. And attunement is where if you expose yourself to sacred teachings, which could include any sacred texts that you like, the Bible, you talk, Mike, a lot on your show about reading the Bible. I think that's awesome. And it's definitely a lot of great stuff in there. So when we're engaged in a spiritual seeking process, the answers can come in strange ways. And so I have these dreams where the UFO is shooting down a telephone, it starts ringing. And I had another dream where there was a spirit who wanted to talk, and he said, here, turn on the tape recorder, let's see if I can do the automatic voice recording. If you've ever heard of that, supposedly certain paranormal investigators would turn on a cassette recorder in an otherwise empty room, and then you go back and listen to it. If it was a place where there was supposedly a ghost or a haunting, you go back to the tape, you play it, and you hear this scary as hell voice kind of whispering and talking. And you can, in some cases, you can even make out what it says. Now, that's really spooky and crazy, but I read about it in the paranormal literature. It never worked for me. But in the dream, this guy was telling me, I knew he was dead, but I could talk to him. And he said, look, I'm not going to be able to get the tape recorder to work, but what if I just tell you what I want to say and then you dictate it into the machine? And I said, yeah, that would work. Well, a few months later, that's what started to happen. And this is where the first part of my career kind of launched, was 1996, November 10th. I began having a telepathic contact that, again, it was, I had to get myself, we were just talking about that in a dream, you'll buy things that are not really very believable, and you just have a suspension of disbelief. To do these readings properly, you have to really get away from the words, and it's a very difficult meditation, actually, to allow yourself to speak without paying any attention to the content.
In other words, ramble mindlessly. He's mentioned this before. He did channeling where he just let himself, don't even think about what you're saying, just say stuff. And that is what he bases some of the things that he sells people in his courses, his channelings. Great.
Right.
And sometimes you'll just hear it. Like I would hear a voice just as clear as we're having a conversation now. And he'd say something and I'd say it, and then he'd say something and I'd say it. Another thing that started to happen a lot is that I would see in my mind's eye like a page or a computer screen, and I would watch writing being written on it, and then I just read it, and I just read the text into the tape recorder. So that's really about as simple of an explanation. But the point is that once I started doing this, it starts talking all this Jesus stuff, and I was not a Christian.
Again, back to pushing Jesus. He's been pushing Jesus. He's been pushing the Archangel Michael.
And there's, Christ cometh. The very first message I ever got, the first 2 words they ever gave me was Christ cometh, believe it or not. And so, and I couldn't understand at that time what the big deal was about this Jesus stuff, because I'd grown up in a family that was really antagonistic to religion. We went to church on Christmas. That's about it. And so go ahead.
I'd like to offer some additional context for the viewers here, that the consciousness, the mind, interfaces with the physical brain, and the mind or consciousness is both a transmitter and a receiver of information.
Yeah.
And in fact, every conscious creature, every conscious being throughout the entire cosmos is both a transmitter and a receiver of information.
Correct.
And I've talked about this in one of my books, The Contagious Mind, which talks about the 100th monkey concept, and even, by the way, crystalline structures can share information about their molecular format with other liquids that form crystals in other labs elsewhere around the planet. So that's all been documented.
Sure.
So what's interesting, especially about you, David, is that your sensitivity. So you were born with a level of sensitivity to information, and then now you've found ways to write it down, or to record it, or to remember it.
I mean,
for a lot of
Michael would say, Archangel Michael, which is the source that started to talk in 1999.
He never attributed Archangel Michael speaking to him until recently, near as I can tell. Before, it was Ra, the Egyptian god, who he channeled back then, and who Carla Rucker channeled to create the Law of One book that he's so fond of. So why the retcon? Before it was Ra. Now it's the Archangel Michael all of a sudden.
After I've been doing this for a couple of years, it kind of upgraded, and we'll talk about that. But Michael always says that we are all capable of talking this way. I'm not special. I don't have a special ability.
You just say you have superpowers. How are you going to say you're not special and you don't have a special ability when you're telling people that you have superpowers, David Wilcock?
Except in the sense, I guess, according to Michael's terminology, that I've done this in other lifetimes, and I have it's easier for me to get started in another lifetime because I already did it before. But he stresses a lot that everybody can do this. It's not anything about being a special person.
Yeah, he's just having full-on conversations with the Archangel Michael now. That's another new thing. Well, Michael says this. Michael says that. It's almost a deflection. Like he doesn't want to take the credit for the bull coming out of his mouth. He wants to attribute it to an angel.
Got it. Right. I would agree that everyone, every mind is this amazing gift of creation, that can connect to so much information. And wouldn't you say, well, I guess this is my question to you, so much of what the media does or censorship or the fear programming is really about keeping you hyper-focused in this crisis of the now, instead of allowing you to let go of this fake crisis usually and get information from other places that's rooted in truth.
Right. So Michael says that most of our people on Earth live in true helplessness.
And again, what the Michael says. This isn't David Wilcock saying it. He's got a source. An archangel is telling him this stuff. Sure he is. David Wilcock. He's just lying through his fake teeth here. Come on. You're not talking to angels, David Wilcock. You're making this up.
And true helplessness is a state in which the higher beings manifest karmic comeuppance for you. You get a karmic experience, a wheel of karma. And as you go through this experience and you suffer horribly, you gain no new spiritual insight than you did the last time you got the same lesson with different people. That's true helplessness.
Good point. Yeah, exactly.
So most of us exist in true helplessness. Another thing that they say in the law of one is most of your peoples exist in a state of perpetual childhood. And I think that the big lesson on Earth right now is about children learning to become adults, which means that you don't have to do what mommy and daddy want anymore, and you can make your own decisions.
I completely agree. I've often felt that this process of sort of the end of the era of scarcity and fear is actually a transition from infanthood into adulthood, or childhood into adulthood. And as adults, we have as a civilization of adults, we have to process information in a different way, and we have to consider the future ramifications of present day actions.
I want to take a moment to thank Chris77 for a kind and generous $5 Australian, and says, love the show. Love having you here, Chris77. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. I want to remind everybody that there's a money button down there if you're feeling generous and want to see future coverage of this. And you can join my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. I'm uploading a brand new song to my Patreon tonight for the Patreon folks. And we do a backstage pass and a, monthly journal and more. Links in the about section. And we'll be reading all the super chats once again at the end of the show. And I have to apologize, on that Simon Park show, we didn't read the super chats. It's the first time I ever missed or forgot to read the super chats at the end of the show or during the show. I mean, we just had so much going on with all those panel members that I thought I'll read them at the end of the show. And then the show ran so long and I was just dying to finish the show that I forgot. So my apologies. We'll read those as well at the end of the show tonight.
And we must also stop being the child victims all the time, right? That's a key, I think.
It's so important to recognize that if you don't heal the trauma that you had as a child, you might as well be walking around on a broken leg without having splinted it or set it or anything. If you don't heal your emotional trauma, if you don't allow yourself to cry sometimes, if you don't allow yourself to think about and review memories that happened before, and of course, under the guise of forgiveness. In other words, dwelling on your past is not the exercise. The exercise is to reflect on your past with the understanding that all is sacramental and that all can be forgiven.
I just want to point out that this belief system of you've got to heal your childhood traumas, it's straight out of the book of Scientology.
Well, very, very wise words. I want to, if it's okay with you, I
Sure.
want to bring us back to what you have going on right now with this new course.
I'd love to.
Now we get into good
you and I
stuff.
could sit in a room and just brainstorm for 12 hours straight.
Maybe we
and
will,
share
you know, that would be
experience.
fun.
Yeah, maybe so. I would definitely welcome that. In the meantime,
We'll bring you out to the factory, and we could tape about the coming free energy anti-gravity movement that we got here, and I'd love to have you be a part of that.
Well, I would.
Again, he's promising free energy and anti-gravity. Sign up for my course now. David Wilcock, you better be able to show that you have anti-gravity and free energy, because you're taking people's money saying that you're going to teach them how free energy and anti-gravity work. You're saying, come on, David, show us some anti-gravity, show us some free energy, and show us the spaceships that you claim your partner built. Why don't you show us the laser rifle that he was pushing back, 20 years ago that he never built? Why don't you show us that too?
Would love to be a part of that.
See, talk is cheap. David Wilcock doesn't show any proof. He just talks and keeps talking.
Let's actually talk about some of that. You mentioned some technologies that have existed for eons that are about to be disclosed. This is part of your new course, The Disclosure. Could you give us an overview of what this is all about?
Okay, so in the first of all, let me just say one quick thing, which is that throughout the entire year 1999, I was uploading everything that Michael said onto my website in just raw data, raw transcripts. There's an incredible time loop going on between.
Again, we can go to that archived website from Wayback Machine. He never mentioned the Archangel Michael. He didn't say that those prophecies were coming from Michael. Now he's saying that those prophecies all came from the Archangel Michael. And again, if we go back to the test of a prophet, if the Archangel Michael told him all those prophecies on his Ascension 2000 website, there's a big problem in that so many of those prophecies and predictions were wrong. Why would the Archangel Michael be talking to David Wilcock and giving him prophecies that are wrong? That can't be from God. If even a single prophecy is wrong, that can't be from God. It can't be from the Archangel Michael. It's from David's own imagination. That's why they're all wrong. He can attribute those prophecies to anybody. In the past, he's attributed them to others. Now he's attributing to the Archangel Michael, but they can't be from an angel or from God if even a single prophecy on that website was wrong. And I got to tell you, friends, there's thousands of prophecies probably on that website that never came true.
In 1999 and everything is happening now. And in the last 3 YouTube videos that I did, the last 4 now, I've been going through these prophecies every Sunday. In these prophecies is 2 different encoded mentions of Pete Peterson.
And here we go again with Pete Peterson, his fake source that was a senile old man who never worked for Ronald Reagan, who never was a science and technology advisor for anyone, who didn't work for the Russian equivalent of NASA like he claimed, who was not an early computer pioneer like he claimed, but somehow angels are giving David Wilcock messages and talking about a fraud. David Wilcock, angels would not contact people and hype up a fraud guy. You would, because that's what you do. Pete Peterson, for those that don't know, was an old senile old man that liked to tell alien stories. And David Wilcock believed everything he said, including all the fake background information that he gave David Wilcock. We covered his fake background. The guy's entire biography, a whole page worth of fake accomplishments that he never did. But angels, right, are encoding Pete Peterson's name in messages they're giving David Wilcock. Sure they are.
His real name was Gary, and I think they called him Gerald Sanderson. So they got pretty close. Gerald Sanderson, Gary Peterson.
That's not close at all, David Wilcock, you dummy. Jeez. Gerald Sanderson? Pete Peterson? An angel would not get the name wrong. They would give you the name because they have divine knowledge, David Wilcock. Are you so stupid and unaware that an angel is an emissary and messenger from God and would have real information and would be able to, if they wanted to encode somebody's name, they would. The name, not something not even close that you're going to see. He connects these dots, right, that don't exist. Well, they said Gerald Sanderson, but, that's real close to Pete Peterson. No, it's not. It's nowhere even close to Pete Peterson.
They can't give you the exact name because it would violate.
And here's his excuse. Here's his excuse for why it's wrong, but it's still Pete Peterson.
Free will, but they try to get close. Just like with Nostradamus, when Nostradamus' source talked about Hitler, it said Hister, if you remember that.
I do, yes.
So I just had another one this morning, the very beginning of 1999. It said, "Welcome Slynn," Slynn, which is one letter off from Flynn. And S even.
Oh, the angels are talking about General Flynn now. Sure they are, David Wilcock. Sure they are. Because angels are real big fans of guys who order drone strikes that kill civilians, right? Right? They're real big fans of generals, right? Sure they are.
Looks like F. So it could be Welcome Flynn. But then you could also take the S from Slynn and stick it on the welcome, and then you get Welcomes Lynn, which is like Lynn Wood.
Look at him. Look at the mental gymnastics he has to do to try to convince himself, and I suppose stupid people listening to him, that he's getting prophetic messages from angels, right?
Wood and Mike Lindell. And so...
Oh, the pillow guy. The angels are telling him about General Flynn, Pete Peterson, a fake fraud, senile old man, and the pillow guy. Sure.
In like 2 words, they encoded General Flynn, Mike Lindell, and Lynn Wood all at once, which just blew me away.
No, they didn't. You're connecting all these dots that didn't happen and saying, well, it's close enough. And no, it's not close enough. An angel would give you exact names, exact information, because they would have perfect information, because their information would come from God, not from some new age loser with fake teeth who's got a vivid imagination and thinks he's so important that angels are giving him messages that are incorrect at best, very misleading, and not at all accurate.
And I just saw that this morning. So what I'm getting now is to the idea that it appears.
1 second, I'm multitasking here. So thanks to Martin Wright for a kind and generous £5 super chat. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. We're a viewer-supported show. Every bit helps. Thank you very much for your kindness. And then we've got Ron from Cosmic Neighbors. You got to stop doing that, Ron, with a kind and generous $10 super chat saying praise the cash. For those that don't know, Ron was a previous guest, and he's working on a 3D printer a spare that he has he's going to send me. So I feel like, don't send me money, get the printer together. Yeah, because I'm going to make some G.I. Joe airplane toys just like David Wilcock, He's inspired me, Ron. I want to make plastic G.I. Joe toys, right? But I'm not going to tell people they're hover cars or that I'm building hover cars. I just want to make some G.I. Joe toys. I miss G.I. Joe toys.
Here's from the 1999 stuff that everyone I was going to meet and everything that happened to me was being guided by Michael, whatever Michael is. So I met Pete in 2009, and he claimed to be the most valuable player for technology for the deep state. He would hang out with Rumsfeld. He would hang out with Dick Cheney. He would hang out with Ronald Reagan.
There's no proof of any of that. These are the ramblings of a senile old man who liked to tell stories. David Wilcock will never prove that he hung out with any of these people or that they even met Pete Peterson. And in fact, I proved through the Ronald Reagan archives that Pete Peterson was not, as both he and David Wilcock suggested, a science and technology advisor for the Reagan administration. He isn't, because there's not a single mention of him in all of the Ronald Reagan library. And if he was truly a science and technology advisor, there'd be some mention of him in the archives. There isn't. This is all made up garbage. Pete Peterson was a fraud, just like David Wilcock. And he's a dead man. And, you know, David Wilcock was not content enough to milk a senile old man for alien stories that he could tell while he was alive. Now the man is dead, and he's still milking a dead man as a source. Can anybody check that Pete Peterson even said any of the stuff that David Wilcock repeats and attributes to him? Of course not, because he's dead.
And they asked him to invent things that they needed. For example, certain highly oxygenated fuels for jets were eating through the metal in the tank, and he actually invented a coating that will cause metal to no longer rust.
No, he didn't. Here's another thing that we did. David Wilcock claimed that Pete Peterson invented hundreds of things and had hundreds of patents. Not a single patent filed with the U.S. Patent Office under his name, his legal name, any of his company names. I checked everything. We went to the ends of the earth trying to find this Pete Peterson's patents. He didn't have a single one. And I challenged David Wilcock, if you're saying that he has patents and he invented all this stuff, show me the patents. David Wilcock, the biggest supporter of Pete Peterson, can't show us the patents. Do you know why, David Wilcock? Because that guy was a fraud, just like you, and those patents don't exist. And neither do any of his fake inventions. He supposedly invented a 40-core microprocessor that was worlds ahead of Intel and IBM. But he died a penniless loser. He died a penniless loser whose house got foreclosed on. If he had invented anything, he would have some money, David Wilcock.
And so that's one of the things that we could leak out in the future. So in 2009, he introduced me to another insider that we're calling Ben. And he said to me that Ben built, I don't know if I can say this, but I mean, he's already said this before, that Ben built spaceships that we're using in this off-planet situation, which is, you know, when you really find out what's going on.
There we have it. David Wilcock is saying that his new insider from this Stravati air company that never made an airplane built spaceships. I want to see a spaceship that he built, David Wilcock. Where can I see a spaceship that this man built? Or are you lying through your fake teeth again? Where's the spaceships?
And what's happening on Earth, it's very depressing, and it totally fits with biblical prophecy, because it appears that both gray aliens and reptilians are feeding on human bodies.
Oh my God, the gray aliens and the reptilian aliens are eating people.
That's one of the things that you learn. We need to get rid of these human traffickers. We need to get these aliens out of here, because they are demons, and it's worse than you think. It's a lot worse than you think.
That was careful wordplay that may have been carefully crafted to appeal to racist people that follow the letter of the alphabet and don't like those illegal aliens down at the border. Or maybe he is saying that the aliens are eating those illegal aliens.
What's going on with the border? Most of those people are not going to become American citizens. That's what they call a meat wagon. And I heard about meat wagons all the way back in 2010, that they let people through the border, they put them on a bus, they drive them into an underground base, and whatever happens from there.
He never said that in 2010. This is new, made up nonsense fairy tale stories from the king of nonsense fairy tale stories. He loves to say, you know, back in 99, I learned this. But there's no evidence or proof that he learned that, because he never talked about it. This is brand new, made up fairy tales.
So we are very much aware of that. I wasn't going to get into that in this, but since you bring it up, it's confirmed through so many sources, people on the ground. We know that that's happening. You're exactly.
This guy just said it's confirmed through many sources on the ground that we know that aliens are eating people. Friends, wouldn't it be on CNN like, hey, listen, maybe you should stay away from the border because there's some evil reptilian and gray aliens down there and they're eating people? No, No, that's all. It's all been covered up so that David Wilcock and this other clown, Adams, can bring us that startling revelation and truth. Sure, this is true. Sure, it is.
Exactly right. And it's
So-
it's not just children; it's adults too.
If you look at, see, I can say things on Brighteon that I would never want to say on YouTube, which is great.
That's true. Yeah. Well, welcome to Brighteon. Go for it. You know.
Okay, so
Now we have to be careful because I'm not sure what he gets into here, but it might not be YouTube.
let's talk about this a little bit. There's a movie called Jupiter Ascending that was made by the Wachowskis, which they're the
He loves to talk about science fiction movies like they're reality. That's a movie, David Wilcock. It's not real. Just so you know, David Wilcock, it's a movie. It's a bad movie too. Anybody ever seen that movie, Jupiter Ascending? Oh, it's not a good movie.
sisters who made the Matrix, right? I guess they identify as women now. So when we see Jupiter Ascending, there's reptilians and there's grays in the movie.
Yeah, this guy did a terrible job editing this. Let me see if I can fast forward because they play a long clip of Jupiter Ascending, and I do not want to get a copyright strike. There we go. We'll go just back to these guys talking. And I just want to mention, I don't know, are you allowed to just clip like 10 minutes of a movie and put it in your for-profit video? I can't do that here. Maybe that guy can because he's on his own platform. I don't know.
Thing by payment. They're picking up their payments. Our military is doing this. We took a crappy deal. We took a horrible deal. And we now have enough technology that we can actually get rid of these people and stop the payments. But in order to do that, we're going to need...
I fast forward a little much, but I did preview this. So David Wilcock is saying that the United States government made a terrible deal with the aliens but they had to pay with humans that they could eat. And that was a bad deal because we keep having to pay them humans to eat. And it's terrible. But now we have the technology that we could get rid of these aliens, right?
Need a civilian space force. We're going to need a civilian-led, or at least a civilians with military, so that we can go against corrupted aspects of our own infrastructure that are actually cooperating with these beings and using this for their own sustenance, I guess. And wouldn't you know, I got a tractor driving right behind me as
no, that's okay. And then, Trump, of course.
Yeah, poor David's not in his usual mansion. He left there and he's in some new place. So there's a truck right outside of his door. I guess no more 50 acres and $1 million, log cabin mansion. God knows where he is now.
Of course, highlighted Space Force, and it's something that I think the Biden regime is trying to shut down. But politics aside, there are, at least according to the sources I've spoken with, white hat sources inside military intelligence and also Space Force.
Well, here we go with the white hats and the black hats, and the Dark Alliance is going to be mentioned, I bet.
Force and so on that are talking amongst themselves and to certain people about this battle is being waged right now. This is actually happening.
Right now, our government is waging a secret battle with aliens, reptilian aliens and gray aliens that they made a contract with and have been feeding payments of people. But we're sick of this. This is a bad deal, and we don't want those reptilian aliens and those gray aliens to be eating our humans no more. So there's a secret battle waging against the aliens by the white hats. This is such childish nonsense. There's two grown men talking about a secret battle against aliens that are eating people. Come on.
There is a war going on with the Draco right now, and Pete would talk to me about this. And
yeah, his fake source would tell him about those reptilian aliens and the war that's raging. Right, his fake source, his senile old man that's dead, and nobody can verify he said any of this stuff because David Wilcock loves to milk a dead source that nobody can check in on and say, "Excuse me, did you say any of this garbage, or is David Wilcock making all this up?" He's making it all up, friends.
And he said that we were winning. There's about, from what Pete said, there's about 3,500 of these ships out there that Ben built, at least.
Here we go. His partner in his hover car company built 3,500 spaceships. Friends, I'm only asking to see one spaceship, David Wilcock. After all, you just said that he built 35 spaceships. The same guy who couldn't build the laser rifle that he was hyping in 1999 for publicity for his failing company that has never produced a single product or turned a profit in 25 years. You just said that that same guy built 3,500 spaceships. Friends, we can go through the entire history of NASA and the United States space program. And I think that we would be hard pressed to find 3,500 rockets or spaceships that our NASA has built since NASA began, since the early American space program. Even the United States government, with all of its wealth, power, and resources, could not build 3,500 spaceships. But we're supposed to believe that David Wilcock's partner, that's been running a failing aviation company and never made a single airplane, somehow was able to the best of the best, the United States and trillion-dollar budgets. They built more spaceships than NASA. This guy, this fraud partner of his. David Wilcock, do you even think about these things before you say them? Did you bother to do any research into how many space-capable craft the United States government has built since the beginning of the United States space program and exploration and experiments into space? Did you even stop to think, gee, they didn't build 3,500 spacecraft, so maybe I shouldn't throw out a number that big and lie and say that my hover car company partner built 3,500 spacecraft. This is why David Wilcock is ridiculous. And every time he talks about all the research he does, I have to cringe. Because if he did any research at all, he would know that I believe that the United States government hasn't built 3,500 separate spacecraft. But somehow, David Wilcock's partner did. Sure he did, David.
That we're using. And he said there's Americans all over the galaxy. He said that we have colonized 65 locations off planet Earth throughout the galaxy, and that each one of these locations typically will have at least 3,500 soldiers there.
Yeah, so there's tens of thousands of people in on this secret space war that a senile old man told them about, and they're using spaceships that his failure business partner that can't even build an airplane built. Yeah, 3,500 of them, and there's thousands of troops and thousands of people, and there's Americans all over the space, all over our solar system, and we have 65 colonies that we've built, which would take billions and trillions of dollars and 100 years maybe to colonize 65 worlds. Again, he doesn't stop to think, like, he's gone full in on this. It's too much, David Wilcock. You got to pull back the numbers. If you had just been conservative and said, we have a secret Mars colony, maybe I'd buy that. But we have 65 off-world colonies, and they're using 3,500 spaceships that your partner built to wage a secret war against the reptilians. Sure, this is great.
And the big thing is to fight these reptilians. In fact, I just got a whole bunch of new information on the Draco today, believe it or not. They are...
I don't believe it. Do you ever notice he always says that? I just had a new prophetic dream because I need money and I need a new course to sell. I just got it's the instant source. It's the David Wilcock instant source move. He needs something to talk about. He just makes up a brand new source of information or brand new information that he just got. Boy, how convenient.
Are distributed all throughout the constellation Draco. And apparently the reason the constellation Draco was named that way is because there's a lot of them out there. So we are going to have to deal with this. We're going to have to deal with the human trafficking. We're going to have to stop. So what I'm trying to say, Mike.
And I just want to say, again, this man's supposed to be a spiritual guru, and he is basically making fun of human trafficking here, or saying that human trafficking is because of aliens, not because of evil humans, right? That sex traffic women all over the world, not because of evil cartels that that traffic humans to get them into the United States, and some of them die in the back of trucks that don't even have windows because they jam them in like sardines. No, it's not the evil humans that we should blame for human trafficking. No, it's those aliens.
Is that there's a direct through line between Greys, Satanism, Illuminati, human trafficking, and extraterrestrial UFO sightings. Okay, let me explain this to you because I wanted to do this somewhere, but not on YouTube.
Understandably.
So, Aleister Crowley arguably is the author of Satan.
I don't know if that's really Jeremy Corbell, but if it is, I would say that for the first time in a very, very long time, I agree with Jeremy Corbell. He is weaving in, Jeremy, we were talking about this earlier. He originally said all these prophecies from 1999 came from his channeling of Ra and his prophetic dreams, and he's retconned it, and now it's the Archangel Michael. And he's also recently said that he channels Christ or Christ consciousness, which is very offensive to Christians worldwide. You cannot channel Jesus Christ. You channel aliens and interdimensional beings. I'm fine with that if you want to do that. But when you start saying you're channeling Jesus or Christ consciousness, no. And it looks like he is weaving all kinds of Christianity in here, and I'm not quite sure why yet.
The modern Satanism that the Cabal follows was created by Aleister Crowley. They love him, okay? And I'm sure you know that. So what you may not realize is that Aleister Crowley was contacted by a being called Lam, L-A-M, and if you look up Lam, it's a gray, or it looks grayish. It's like a gray hybrid with more human-looking eyes.
Oh no, Aleister Crowley's Lam! Let's weave that into this narrative. Great, wow! Look at that! Look at the production quality on this.
Lam is the being
great edit too.
That taught Crowley how to do satanic ceremonies, how to summon beings like him. Okay, which involves the sacrificing of life forms. So the aliens
maybe
brought this to us. Do you understand? They want the elite to practice this, and an alien taught Crowley how to do Satanism. So these are demons, and you talk about this, Mike, but I'm just trying to connect some dots for you. So what then happens is,
well, yeah, but just a second, if you don't mind me interjecting.
Sure.
Just to help connect the dots for the listeners here as well. So when we talk about globalists and their current spike protein release for human depopulation, or what I've called trying to transform the planet into a post.
I think we're going to have to stop this here. We're going to skip ahead a little bit because I can't have them talking about anti-you-know-what. And then we play another long, I think this is another long movie clip. Let's get back. Well, they did copy. They said it was from Warner Brothers, but
they believe they are going to exaltation, but they are not, are they?
I don't even know what this is or what the context is. Looks like a bad movie to me, though. Let's get back to the commentary that they have. Again, another 10 minutes of somebody else's copyrighted material. I don't know how you do that, but we can't do that here. I could get a copyright strike. I'm going to cite fair use. Our fair use banner is at the bottom.
The genomics industry demands a huge quantity of biomatter for wound tanks, but more importantly, to sustain the engineered labor force. Recycled fabricants are a cheap source of protein.
Oh, again, this does tie in. This ties in with David Wilcock saying that reptilian aliens and greys are eating people at the border from meat wagons.
They feed us to ourselves.
Yeah, so this is, I mean, if anybody watching this.
Soylent Green is people. They feed us to ourselves.
This is saying, oh, this couldn't possibly be true. Go look up Washington state law about disposing of human remains in the sewer system that was legalized, I think, 2 years ago.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. That's disgusting.
Well,
But, you know, it's
part
a
of the
Mike Adams
biosludge.
show. You got to expect anything when you get on with Mike Adams.
Well, no, you're hitting me with all kinds of stuff I didn't know, so keep going.
Well, I want you to know this because everybody in your community, my community, our community, you know, we're talking about Christianity, we're talking about demons, and I want to make some dots
Laura
connect,
Eisenhower
okay?
told us this.
So that you understand that what the Bible was talking about is absolutely true. So the Greys apparently don't need the victim to be tortured at all. They could take any human, it doesn't matter. But with the Draco, they really need the victim to have suffered. Part of what they feed on is the energy that we release in death, in suffering.
Deluge, the negative energy, the energy from suffering. That's what the aliens are here for. Sure, they are.
There is a way to feed on that, apparently, energetically. And I've talked about how there was a guy named Burlakoff who took fish eggs and then he put them next to fish eggs that were older. The older fish eggs will actually suck the health out of the younger fish eggs and kill them. And you can do this in a hermetically sealed container where the only thing in between is
what kind of
quartz,
nonsense
which allows
is he
ultraviolet to
talking
pass
about this?
through.
Oh my gosh.
If you put a glass slide in there so that the ultraviolet photons can't pass through, then the weaker fish eggs do not die and wither. They're fine. So there's some method by.
And thank you, David Bucky, for a kind and generous $5 super chat donation, and says, "Good show. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support." Thanks very much, Annie Kurtz, kind and generous $4.99 super chat. You all are great. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. We'll be rereading all the super chats at the end of the show. I have to read the ones that we missed from the previous show, and my apologies for that. Praise the cash, friends. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support.
By which the stronger fish eggs suck the actual health, energy, and vitality out of the weaker eggs, apparently having to do with ultraviolet photons stored in the DNA itself. And so when you block those ultraviolet photons from being sucked out of the room, now the eggs don't die. This is apparently the same principle in the spiritual sense where negative entities can feed on fear and feed on suffering.
So then in this context, most human beings living today are living in an oblivious human crop plantation, essentially, which is being harvested for that life force energy plus the human.
Yes, it's just like the Matrix. They got us all hooked up, right? And they're sucking us dry of energy. That's what it is. Throw some Matrix kind of references in there.
Proteins for the human smoothies.
Oh, human smoothies. Yeah, the aliens are eating human smoothies. Great.
That you mentioned. And again, this is exactly what they talked about in the Matrix back in '99, that there were entire fields that were harvested.
We're all batteries. We're all plugged into the Matrix to feed the Matrix.
At the time, they were dependent on solar.
Again, with the movie clips that they don't own, they don't have the rights to use. And David Wilcock called this a movie. This thing we're watching right now, he said, "I'm in a new movie," and sent out to people. Great.
If a gray is going to necessarily look like a gray, he might project some other image that looks like a gargoyle or a more traditional demon. It might still be a gray. But they do apparently become visible at the end of these ceremonies. So one of my insiders said that there's one of the laptop videos is of a session ending and something materializing at the end. He only heard the audio of it. He hasn't seen it yet. And I don't know if any of us are going to see this, but
yeah, we're never going to see it. And we're never going to know who this fake source you just made up on the fly is, David Wilcock.
We also need to be prepared that part of the big awakening that we're about to go through could be a much more sobering and terrifying realization that the people who are praying the demons are actually getting results where these demons appear in front of them. And we're going to all know this as an absolute fact. That's what I think is going to happen.
Again, back to Christianity. He is now implying that those aliens that are eating people are actually demons. Again, tying in Christian beliefs into his alien UFO stories. This is a new narrative for him lately.
Yeah, you are not the first person to relate that exactly. That we're going.
Really?
That's right. That's right.
Ooh. Well, I know that
That-
some of the same people are talking to you and me. He won't admit it to me, but I'm pretty sure that's the same guy. One of them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It is a guy, and
Yeah.
who warned me about the materialization.
Oh, they both have
But
the
he
same
also
fake
told me,
source.
I won't reveal who he is, of course, but he also told me that if it takes material form, if it has flesh or bones or tendons or what have you, then you can fight it in the physical world as well.
Correct.
Right.
They
So
are
it's not
fallible.
ethereal.
They are physical beings that can die. That's right.
Right. So hence my AR-15.
Well, see, he just contradicts himself. It's going to be revealed that they're demons. Demons. I don't think you can kill a demon with a machine gun unless you're playing Doom. Maybe David Wilcock has been playing too much Doom, because the demons of Christianity are spirits, spiritual beings, fallen angels. You're not killing a fallen angel with a machine gun.
I have copper. I have expanding copper tip bullets because I've also been told that copper has specific properties against supernatural forces as well.
No, that's silver bullets, bro, and that's only works on werewolves. Nobody's making copper bullets to fight supernatural creatures except you.
So
one of the strange things that I heard is that if you live in a desert area, Greys don't like walking on sand or dirt of any kind.
Oh, here's another absolutely ridiculous part of this. He's got insider knowledge about Greys, and according to David Wilcock, Greys can't walk on sand. They got to walk on wooden pathways. So, here, just listen. This is so ridiculous.
They can't. They actually can't. They really, really don't like it. So, apparently, one of the ways that they will capture the Greys around Area 51 is just put a little piece of wood on the desert floor, and the Grey will never walk off of the wooden plate onto the desert sand. He can't walk on the desert for whatever reason. I don't know.
So now we all know how to capture those pesky gray aliens. Just put a piece of wood down, get some sand, and yeah. And did you hear that? Listen to the nonchalance in which he says absolutely outrageous, incredible claims. Well, this is how they capture the gray aliens around Area 51. Sure.
That's just one of the things I've heard.
Maybe it's a silica or a silicon issue, because
if their body absorbs nutriment, right? Yeah. If they soak through their skin.
And here he's quoting Dan Burrish, who is a complete and total proven fraud, who said that J-Rod, the alien at S4, what they would do is they would mix up this nutriment solution, and the gray alien J-Rod would rub it all over himself, and he would absorb the nutrients through his skin. David Wilcock, that idea came from Dan Burrish, who is a complete and total fraud and a liar. But you're repeating it here doesn't make it any more true than when he told that fake story.
Then their whole...
By the way, Dan Burrish, and I believe that he and Kari Cassidy interviewed Dan Burrish, right?
Body is sort of like something that could ingest. So yeah, that might be what it is. They don't want the silica and the
Well, quartz is made out of silicon.
Right.
You got to throw in some crystals for the crystal hippie chicks. Every time David Wilcock talks, he's got to throw in some crystal stuff for the crystal hippie chicks.
The element silicon, right? So quartz is just different colored quartz are silicon elements with different so-called impurities like iron or what have you, and that gives it different colors. So you know a lot more about quartz.
Yeah, I believe he was.
Does that?
I don't.
Might be some
honestly,
according to David Wilcock on Hunter Biden's laptop. No, I think he's talking about Hunter Biden's laptop. There's a video, and an alien or a demon appears in the video. Sure.
That's just that thing about capturing the gray in the desert. I have no idea why that works, but I like that we're speculating on it, because probably in the post-disclosure future, we're all going to have to ask these questions of ourselves. What are these beings? What's going on? But to just get back real quick to, bad pun intended, the food chain of what we were talking about.
there's so many tangents for us where this can go in 50 directions, but go
Well,
ahead.
this
Yeah.
is stuff that I think you're probably the best person to disclose it with. So anyway, to really kind of get this whole thing going, the Greys, this particular species of Greys, which we call the Zeta Reticulans, right? The Zeta Reticulans are working with the Draco. They both need people. The Reticulans taught us how to perform the rituals correctly. And our secret government Illuminati folks
Look at this
began
high
practicing
quality
this.
production and editing
So
for David
it
Wilcock's
appears
movie.
in the case of certain types of extraterrestrials, the evil ones, that what is happening is that they go through this ceremony, they terminate the victim, they remove the blood, which may or may not be consumed immediately.
They're vampire aliens. Aliens are vampires. You heard it here first. They're drinking people's blood. It's not bad enough that they're eating people. Now they're draining people's blood and drinking the blood. Sure they are, David Wilcock.
They remove certain organs, which they sell for organ donor harvesting, and so that it's a fundraiser.
This is so absolutely ridiculous. Why would aliens that are capable of interstellar travel need to sell organs to make money? They need money? The aliens need money? This is so nonsensical and childish and stupid, David Wilcock.
And then when they've gotten the organs out, they take the shell and hand it over. And I think probably in a lot of cases, they're handing it over through the portal as the little guy shows up in the room. So they handle the cleanup. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's very dark, and I'm really sorry to have to hit this with people's, but part of what we have to go through is to learn what's really going on.
If this is really going on, I'm upset. There's aliens eating people, drinking people's blood. They're eating people from meat wagons. This is so upsetting, David Wilcock. I wonder if he's going to cry.
And in the Archangel Michael time loop from 1999, I just this morning found, I didn't even know we were going to do this. You gave me like 51 minutes notice for this interview. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that. I didn't have the notice either.
Oh, and there you go. That may be some explanation why David Wilcock's just making stuff up right on the spot, because he didn't have a prepared speech with 800 slides to get him through it.
Either. It was
I know
spontaneous for
we
both
just
of
called
us.
you and all of a sudden, yeah, okay, great. So and I rushed, but anyway, literally 3 hours ago is when I discovered that Archangel Michael shows up throughout the entire year 1999 from the very beginning, and he specifically describes exactly what I've just learned from new insiders over the last few months.
Oh, new insiders, right? And listen, he didn't just get this information 3 hours ago that ties the Archangel Michael to the year 1999. He's been talking about it for 5 weeks now. So that's a lie.
Which is this whole weird human trafficking operation that is a joint human-alien human trafficking thing where the extraterrestrials allow these people to stay in power in exchange for keeping up with their payments. So,
exactly.
Wow. So it looks like President Biden might want to keep shipping those aliens meat wagons full of people that they can drink the blood of and eat and harvest organs from, or he's not going to stay in office. This is so stupid, Dave. This is one of your stupidest stories yet.
That's right.
And he's told some pretty stupid stories.
Right. And then part of that also doesn't involve a technology transfer from the ETs to certain global factions that they don't even have to reverse engineer the tech. They just have to apply it. And they use this technology to do things like, for example, self-assembling nanoparticles that many people believe are in these current vaccines, although I haven't been able to confirm it, but it's a common belief.
Mike, listen to this. I had one insider who we call Jacob, and he claimed to work for the Rothschilds as an assassin and a negotiator. And he worked.
Does anybody remember when David Wilcock made that phone call where he was crying on the phone to Kari Cassidy that the Rothschilds, or was it the Golden Dragon? I don't remember. Assassins like ninjas were at his house to kill him. But don't worry, Kari Cassidy surrounded him with golden light and prayer, and that protected him. Sure.
Worked extensively with extraterrestrials. he claimed, whether you believe this or not, that they have stargates that already work, that extraterrestrials gave them for their own use. As
David Wilcock talks about this when he watches too much Stargate SG-1.
part of this human trafficking operation.
All right. So far we got aliens, reptilian aliens and gray aliens that are drinking people's blood and eating people and harvesting their organs, and they've got stargates. Great.
And that he himself claimed that he had been to perhaps 2,000 different locations through stargates.
That's like 4 seasons of Stargate SG or
I
whatever
know.
that show.
Amazing.
That's like going
Yeah, even the host knows that this is garbage and just something pulled from David Wilcock watching too much Stargate.
everywhere.
You'd have to hit a new place every day, right? For how many years?
Yeah.
What? It would have to be, well,
That's
three chunks of years.
He'd have to go to a new location for every day for 5 years or thereabouts, David Wilcock. So what are the odds that that story is true? Even he's questioning it. Even he's having trouble getting over the mental gymnastics it requires to believe this garbage.
3 years is 1,000 days.
yeah, it'd be 6 years roughly or whatever. Yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot of tourism.
Well, but I mean, in one day, you might visit 5, 15 places in the
okay.
course of your work, you know? So, but anyway, Jacob told me in 2010 that they were working with the Draco to create a vaccine that they were going to force everybody to get.
We're going to skip that. Skip past that. But again, he's making up fake sources on the fly. This is his fake anonymous sources. Nobody can check. Did this guy really say this? David Wilcock's just going to tell you, this guy, my source, we call him Jacob. He said these things. No, he didn't. Show us Jacob. Prove it, David Wilcock. He never proves it. He just makes up fake people. Who's Jacob? It's one of David Wilcock's imaginary friends, apparently.
Has Draco computer nanite technology in it. That the Draco invented this. They have it in their bodies.
All right, we're going to have to tap out here because they're talking about things that involve the current health crisis. And given YouTube's stance, you know, I can't play the things that he's saying, but I can relate them to you because I have previewed this. So essentially, Mr. Wilcock is making very dangerous, stupid claims that are not based in facts or science or real research, claiming that there is alien material involved in the you-know-what, and what its purpose truly is. David Wilcock is playing a very dangerous game, lying to people and fantastically claiming that there is alien materials in you guys know I don't even want to say it, but you know what I'm talking about. So he's claiming there's alien material in the shot, and what its purpose is to, it's got nanites, right? Nanite technology in it. And let's just say that Wilcock is telling people how harmful that thing is, which is very dangerous to do. I just want to mention that I have at least one friend of my family who was very anti getting that. And now he's dead. So anytime I hear, and by the way, that person was influenced by stupid people like David Wilcock who are against that. It's really unfortunate. One day, Jacob, like good, will appear, maybe. Yeah, so it's very unfortunate that Wilcock is playing this dangerous game, telling people complete and total absolute lies about that situation. Yeah, and Kathy Knight, I agree with you. I'm not going to read your comment, but I agree with it. We have to be very careful here about these things on YouTube now. We can't go too far. So, friends, we're going to wrap things up here, but I will give some time and attention to the live chat. I am going to I'm going to check in with the super chats. We're going to read all of tonight's and the shows that we missed. We're going to do that right now. And I apologize for missing the super chats. That's the first time I've ever done that. And I guarantee I'm not going to do that again. I put a post-it note here. Don't end broadcast without super chats all read. 1 second now, friends. Let's see if we can get this stuff up here. Oh, yeah. So we're going to read the ones from the Simon Park show. And I once again want to thank everybody for their kindness and their support of that show. Very important show. And I haven't checked in with Kevin Moore, but I think that there have been, as far as I know, there have been no new legal threats levied against myself or any of the participants, which is good news. Yeah. All right, here we go. So I want to we recognize and thank every single person who sends a super chat. My apologies for somehow forgetting to read the super chats for that Simon Park show. So we had Fred Tetsu with a kind and generous Australian $5 super chat, no message. Then an additional $5 super chat from Fred Tetsu with the message, "Hi, Steve, I have to work soon, so I will donate now and watch later. So jealous of you guys." I'm sorry you couldn't stick around, Fred, but thank you for your kindness and your generosity. Madam Two Swords with Great Britain pounds, $2.49 with this. As a super sticker. Thanks very much. Beverly Adams, I am going on record to say that you are wrong about Simon. Very wrong. This is infantile. Well, and that's from Beverly Adams, US $5. Well, I want to say I'm sorry that we disagree. I'm sorry that you felt so strongly and wanted to see that message conveyed, that you paid $5 to have it conveyed. But I do thank you for your kindness and your generosity and your support. I would think that anybody listening to that entire show would not agree with you. I don't believe that I'm wrong about Simon, but I respect your opinion and I thank you for your kindness and your $5 super chat. David Bucky with a $5 super chat. Thanks again, David Bucky. Big supporter of the show. He says, good show. The Grounded Cat, who says, laugh out loud, I'll go on record to say they are very right about Simon. Thanks all in the panel for all that you do, and thanks to Jeanette for speaking out. Kind and generous, $4.99. Thank you, The Grounded Cat. Much, much appreciated. Chester Hunter, who just says, at 6 cents, understood. And I think there was some back and forth about don't put your email address in the chat, but with a kind and generous $5 super chat. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. Welcome to the show with Great Britain pounds, 99 cents. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. And we want to welcome to the show is a new chat room monitor. Use your powers wisely, sir. Welcome to being a chat room monitor. Longtime supporter of the show. I didn't realize he didn't have a mod wrench. He asked me if he could, and I was all for it. Frapsap with a kind and generous $10 super chat. No message. Thank you for your kindness. This is from, so now we're up to tonight. Frapsap with kind and generous $10. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and support. Martin Wright, Great Britain pounds, £5. And again, no message, but thank you, Martin Wright, for your kindness. Area 503, great researcher. Glad to see him here with a kind and generous US $5.03. Awesome interview with the ufology legend. Thanks, Stephen. Oh, by the way, these are from the you could check it out on our channel. We did a replay. I was fortunate enough before he died to know and get to interview Stanton Friedman, and we just sort of did a rebroadcast of that. And thank you for your kindness, Area 503. Great researcher. Sire J. Longstroke with a kind and generous US $10 donation. I've been to a CE5 meeting twice. First meeting was impressive with aerial visuals. Second was a nothing burger. Donald Kehoe's The Flying Saucers Are Real is a good read. Praise the cash. Thank you, Sire J. Longstroke. Praise the cash. Praise the cash. That's what we're doing right now. Welcome to the show with another kind and generous 99-cent Great Britain pounds. And this was from earlier from our new video, 2021 Conspiracy Circus Awards, Boldest Liar Award. And I think these are unicorns, these super stickers. Again, welcome to the show, longtime supporter of the show, with a kind and generous 99 cents Great Britain pounds and a super sticker. A unicorn. Madam Two Swords with the kind and generous Great Britain pounds, £2.49. £2.49. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and support. Much appreciated. Lee Guy, $1.99. You're my favorite douche, Steven. And that's the comment of the night. That made me crack up. Thank you, Lee Guy. Chris 77 with a kind and generous Australian, $5. Love the show. And a thumbs up. Thank you, Chris 77. Martin Wright, Great Britain pounds, £5. Take my money, laugh out loud. I will take all your money, Martin Wright. I haven't gotten enough of it. Cosmic Neighbors, Ron from Cosmic Neighbors, kind and generous, $10 super chat saying praise the cash. Dorothy Hawkins with a US $5 super sticker purchase of a kitty cat. Very nice of you. Thank you, Dorothy Hawkins, for your kindness, your generosity, and support. David Bucky with a kind and generous $5 super chat saying good show, applause, and thumbs up. Andy Kurtz with a kind and generous US dollar $4.99. You are all great. Thumbs up. And smiley face. Thank you, all of you, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. I appreciate all of your kindness, your generosity, and your support. Oh, and we have a late one. Let me make sure I didn't miss any others. Nope, looks like that's the latest one. Fred Tetsu, Australian, $20. Thanks, Steve and Six. What another great week. Simon Parks was great. Just logged on. We'll watch again. Thank you so much for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. We appreciate every single super chatter and super sticker purchaser. We appreciate all the PayPal donators, and we thank all of you. I'm going to do one more thing here, which is to check in. So there's two ways to throw money at me. The first is through the super chats, that money button down there. All you do is hit that money button, put in how much you want to put in. If you haven't yet, you got to put a credit card or a debit card in there. You only have to do that one time, and then they will. And then, friends, they will send that money to me. And we can take anything. So it doesn't matter where in the world you are. You can be sending me Mexican pesos. You've seen tonight, Australian dollars, Great Britain pounds, American dollars, Russian rubles. We take any money, and YouTube will kindly convert it for us and put it in our piggy bank here. So I do want to thank also you can send a PayPal donation. The links are in the About section or in the About section of the video or the channel. And we want to thank Ellen Fox for a kind and generous PayPal donation for $5. Very generous of Ellen Fox, longtime show supporter, right? Longtime show supporter. And we have a kind and generous $5 PayPal donation from Intel Lady, actually. Thank you very much, Jennifer, Intel Lady, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. We have Anita with a kind and generous $10 PayPal donation. And she says, thank you, Steve, just between you and me. Oops, sorry. It's not just between you and me now. I apologize if you didn't want me to read this out and thank you, but you do have my thanks so much for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. I am blown away by the support we have been getting lately. And you may have noticed a few studio upgrades here. I'm still cheating to get some sort of animated background behind me because StreamYard doesn't let you do animated videos. So we're using these funky lights to try to make it nice. And I have a world of studio upgrades that I have to do still. I've got all these new backdrops that are going to be going on the sides and a new, bigger backdrop, but same style that's going behind me. And we have to get those up. But I've been procrastinating on it because I'm always too busy doing shows, researching shows, or getting shows ready that I haven't had time to get these upgrades and new lights all set up and the multi-camera. It's still coming along. What can I say? Progress is the key to happiness, however, friends. So I want to thank everybody first for their kindness, their generosity, and their support of the show, and for helping us to keep the show going. And how do we keep the show going? We praise the cash. Hallelujah, friends.
You're watching Truthseekers.
So what could I say? Welcome to the circus, friends, too. I want to mention that we have a new production video just out yesterday, which is we're doing this a new series here where we're going to be giving awards to all of the best um, people that are deserving of awards in conspiracy land. But of course, with a cynical view, like Boldest Liar Award, we're going to have Dumbest Flat Earther Award. We're going to have Most Anonymous Sources Used to Sell a Single Fake Story. Some of you can guess who I'm going to give that to. So yeah, we're going to be giving out these Conspiracy Circus Awards, and you can check out the video. We're going to have a whole series of them. That's the first one. I'm hoping to get another one done tomorrow. I did mention I didn't go to the cabin tonight, and so I'll be home all weekend, which is a rarity for me. But first of all, it's going to rain all weekend at the cabin, and I can't process firewood in heavy thunderstorms. I mean, I could, but I don't want to. That's nasty. It's cold there. It's going to be 35, 40 there, and freezing cold rain and thunderstorms. So I bailed, but I'm hoping to get a bunch of stuff done for the show. I also want to mention to the Patreon supporters, I'll be uploading a new song tonight. I thought I mixed it, but then I listened to it again and went, I got to make a couple more adjustments, but just a couple more, and I'm going to upload that. Yes, we have a panel show tomorrow. Thank you, Spooky, for reminding me. Tomorrow night, friends, we are doing Mischief Night Mayhem. You never know what might happen. And like I said, I don't want you to just listen to this story or watch this Truth Seeker story unfold. If you're here, you're a Truth Seeker like me, and we want you to join in on the show tomorrow night. We're going to do this thing called Mischief Night Mayhem. And we may do some games. We may have some prizes. If you'd like, you can show up in costume. We make it a costume party or a pajama party. Any way you want to show up, as long as you do. And we'll be inviting everybody onto the show tomorrow. Martin Wright says, great show, Steve. All the best to you and your family. Yes. Oh, my family. That's the other reason I stayed home this weekend. I don't want to rush home to, do my kids and Halloween. We're just going trick-or-treating in the neighborhood, but we'll have some pie and some fun stuff. And I hear Sneaky Pete saying that, yeah, so I'm glad I'm going to be home, because if I did go to the cabin, I'd have to rush home on Sunday morning, so I could be here to help my wife and all that stuff. I'm just going to be here. Kids don't do Mischief Night anymore because of the eternal beta season. Yeah, you may be right. You may be right. So tomorrow night we've got this great panel show coming up. Oh, and I want to say, I want to share one other thing, give you guys a preview of some things to come here, because we are getting some amazing guests lately, and the journey continues, friend. I'm going to share my screen here. This is from my Twitter. 1 second. Here we go. Monday, this coming Monday, November 1st at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm happy to announce that Truth Seekers will be hosting Ian Crossland from the Timcast IRL podcast and from Minds. And I got to tell you, I watched Timcast and I watched the left-leaning side too, Vosh and other things. I used to watch the Young Turks, but stopped. It got too crazy. But I do watch Timcast and listen to Timcast, and I'm a big fan of Ian Crossland. And I noticed something, and that is, if you watch a Timcast IRL, if you watch Timcast, Ian Crossland brings up the Federal Reserve all the time and the evils of the Federal Reserve and how it should be replaced and what a better system we could have without the Federal Reserve. And so I reasoned that he might want to do a whole show just on the Federal Reserve. So that's what we're going to be doing Monday, November 1st at 2 p.m. And I'm so pleased that we get to host somebody. I think Timcast is like the third or fourth biggest, might be the second. I don't know where, anyway, they have a huge podcast with over 1 million subscribers. So it's a tremendous opportunity for us to sort of cross promote and hope that, he'll have a good time and maybe want to come back. And I got to tell you that I'm a fan of his because he's a huge a supporter of open source, and you guys know what a huge supporter of open source, free software, and Linux I am. I'm big into that stuff. And he's one of the co-founders of Minds, which is an alternative social media platform that doesn't believe in censorship. Imagine that, right? And he's also a baker of bread, and so am I. But I'm going to try not to talk to him about that because we have to stay on topic. And I want to get the truth about the Federal Reserve and how we could best replace it with something better. So that's coming up, friends. I can't tell you. Boy, that is like, I made a dream list of guests, actually, based on, there's something called Grow Your Show or something. It's a podcast about how to grow your show. And I've been listening to it and trying to take advice. And Spooky mentioning that's a cool thumbnail. Yes, by Kari. Thank you, Spooky Kari, for your kindness and your help. That was a great thumbnail. So, yeah, what can I say? I've been listening to trying to get ideas to grow the show. So I found a podcast. It's all about making your show bigger and better. And one of the things they talked about is don't be afraid to ask your dream guests to come and be a guest. You might think, I don't have a big enough audience or whatever. And that's what I would have thought previously about inviting somebody like Ian to the show, is that, Ian's on a show. He's a co-host and producer on a show with 1 million subscribers, right? They get like tens of thousands of people watching them live, and their live chat goes like this. It's so many people. So, previous to this last couple of weeks, I would have shied away from asking somebody like him. But I listened to this advice and said, don't be afraid, ask. It can't hurt to ask. So I asked, and he said yes. And I'm pleased and delighted that he'll be coming here. And that's going to be a good thing for our show. I really do think so. We're going to try to promote it over the weekend so we can get a really good crowd. And I know it's a 2 p.m. show, and you guys are used to night shows, but that's the time he gave me. I said I'd do it whenever is convenient for him. So that's what we're doing. So we're going to wrap things up here, friends. My hair is creeping somebody out. But okay. Okay. Yeah, my hair creeps me out. I have nothing but bad hair days, right? So panel show tomorrow, and I will be posting that as soon as I get offline here. We'll be posting that panel show, and I will be, so you got to email me or DM me or PM me if you want to be on the panel. We've already got a few people. I made sure that I put out a few invitations in advance so that we're not waiting too long to get a panel going. Anyway, Mischief Night Mayhem tomorrow night for Mischief Night. What better night to do a Mischief Night panel show? But we can talk about any of the stuff. Oh, yes, and there's a Cult of Cambion ad coming out soon. And it's about somebody. Well, anyway, I think I'll just wait and let you see it and experience it. But there are people that don't know it, but they have joined my cult of Cambion. And all their thoughts are occupied by me. And all their energy is being taken up by me. And some people are spending hours and hours and hours of their life every week dedicated to me. And what they don't know is they've joined my cult. And I'm just a psychic vampire sucking away all their energy, just like David Wilcock said. And they are trapped, right? They have no choice. Like Spooky says, I obey. See? That's the way it is. Steve S. sounds like CW talk. No, I don't think so. Moody Mongol says, praise the forehead. Sneaky Pete says that would be a 200-decade-long show. Yes, it might be. It really might be. Well, friends, I see that the live chat is dropping down here. So that's a good indication that I've worn out my welcome, and it is indeed time to go. Friends, you always hear me say this. I'm always happy when there's an audience. And tonight we had a great one. Thank you for coming here, spending some quality time with me. I'm glad that I got to spend this time with you. There is no place that I would rather be than right here with you. So until next time, friends, and next time is going to be tomorrow night, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.